I trusted someone with my money, and she stole thousands. She didn't just ghost me, she disappeared completely. No responses, no updates, nothing. By the time I tracked her down, she had already lost everything. Her business, her car, her home. But before I knew any of that, I was just another landlord, wondering where my rent checks had gone. This is the story of how my property manager embezzled money from me and multiple other real estate investors. And I didn't figure it out until it was already too late. If you're new around here, I'm Terrell Higgins, and I keep it real with personal finance and real estate. And this isn't just some crazy story. This is a warning. If you have real estate or any business where you trust someone with your money, this could happen to you. Let's get into it. So let's go back to 2019 when I first purchased this property. I bought this property for $42,000 off a turnkey rental platform called Roofstock. The rent was $775 a month. All the numbers looked great. And at that point in my career, I was obsessed with getting cash flow. This was very flawed thinking, and I will explain why later. But after I closed on the property, Roofstock actually recommended multiple property managers for me, and they were all horrible. One lady took the phone call in traffic, and she was screaming at traffic the whole time while she was taking the call. Another guy was explaining how great and efficient he was at evicting tenants, and they just all seemed like nut jobs. There was no way I was going to be dealing with these people on a month-to-month basis. So I did something that I thought was pretty genius. I reached back out to the person who sold the property. He was professional, reliable, and he agreed to continue on as the property manager for the property. The first year went great. And by the end of 2020, he wanted to close down the property management portion of his business so he could focus in on investing. So he passed off the property management to a young lady who'd been managing properties for about 5 years. At first, she was amazing. For the first 4 years, she handled everything. From vacancies and repairs and rent increases, she was a rock star. This was the definition of mailbox money. And by the time 2024 rolled around, the rent was around $1,100 a month, and things were going great. So when the red flags started showing up, I ignored them. Early 2024, the payments started coming later and later, and it got to the point where she wouldn't send me my money unless I emailed her. She always had some kind of excuse. She hurt her ankle, things were chaotic, she was out of commission, but I got my money, so I just let it slide. But then the payment stopped altogether. By June of 2024, I was getting lump sum payments for the previous 2 months. And she hit me with this emergency repair bill for $3,000. She said a pipe burst under the house, and the pictures look so extreme, like these guys had to tunnel down to the center of the earth. I knew the tenant was going to be without water, so I paid up. Looking back, this was probably the first real scam. From there, the payment delays got even worse. But because this property was in a Class C or D neighborhood, the tenants weren't always on time with their rent. So I just assumed this was part of the game. By December of 2024, everything collapsed. No statements, no payments. she stopped responding altogether. The only thing I got was a generic email saying that she had changed offices. Meanwhile, I could see in my owner's portal that the tenant was still paying rent, but she was just keeping the money. At this point, I should have gone nuclear, but I didn't. I gave her one last chance. I assumed things were messy from the move, and I'd give her until January to figure it all out. That was a huge mistake. By mid-January, I had nothing. No statements, no payments, no signs of life. So I went full Karen. I sent her a legal notice stating that she was in breach of contract, and she had until the end of the week to get me my statements and payments, or I was going to file a complaint against her license. One day before the deadline, she finally replied that she was sick, that her assistant wasn't working out, that she was going to pay me immediately. And then she disappeared again. And at this point, I was done. I started looking for arbitration lawyers. I was pulling all the evidence together to file a complaint against her license. I was scrambling to get a new property manager, but no one wanted to touch it because it was a Class C or D property. By February, she had racked up 4 months worth of stolen rent. And I went into full-on detective mode. I pulled every public record that I could find on her. I went to her realtor page and saw that she sold a property in December. I went to her Yelp page and found a review from another owner accusing her of stealing $7,000 in mid-2024. I looked at her pending court cases. One was from a contractor saying that she owed them money, and another was from stalking charges, probably from someone else that she owed money to. I pulled up her LinkedIn page and it was gone. And at this point, I assume she's deleting her life and she's about to disappear with everyone's money. A full month of rent roll from her clients could easily be over $100,000 worth of money. That would have taken this from a Class 2 felony to a Class 1 felony. I started looking up how to file police reports for embezzlement. Like, what agencies handle this stuff? How am I gonna track down all of this money? And I was spiraling. Then I made a Hail Mary call. I reached back out to the original investor that handed me off to her in 2020. That's when I learned the truth. Her business was bankrupt. Her assistant left her in November. She had sold her car. She had lost her home, and she was living on the streets. At this point, I had a choice. I could press charges, drag her through the legal system, and potentially send her to prison. Or I could just shut her down, file a complaint against her license so she could never practice again, and just move on. I chose the latter because at the end of the day, the money is gone, it's spent, and she has already lost everything. But what I learned from this is that cash flow is not king. There's a reason the returns are so high on Class C and D properties, and it's because no one actually wants them. If you start seeing these red flags where payments are missing or showing up late, don't make excuses for these people. Start making changes. And sometimes your best people can turn into your worst people. You never know what's happening behind the scenes in someone's life and is gonna spiral out of control and make them go full Breaking Bad on you.
Who are you talking to right now? Who is it you think you see? I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
And that's why I am getting out of the Class C and D cash flow game, and I am seeking a more sane and boring real estate experience. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have pressed charges against her? Let me know in the comments below. And please leave a like on this video so the algorithm will spread it to more people. Keep getting 1% better every day, and I will catch you guys in the next video.